Now go.
Today is Sunday, October 10th, 2010, and I am interviewing Wayne Geyer in his home. Mr. Geyer is 63 years old. He was born December 16th, 1947. My name is Austin Davis, and I'll be the interviewer. Wayne Geyer, my grandfather, Papaw. Could you state for the recording what war you and branch of service you served in?
Yes, I was in the Army, and I was in the service between 69 and 71.
What rank? What was your rank?
My end rank was E4.
Say you served in.
Pardon?
Stop the camera when he has to pause.
No, you don't want to stop the camera.
So you served in the Army. Where were you living at the time?
Lived in Fountain, Indiana.
How did you happen to serve in the war?
I got drafted.
What were you doing before you were drafted or enlisted?
I was working at the Farm Bureau Implement Department in Wabash.
Did anyone else in your family serve in the military?
Yes. My father served in World War II, and my brother served in Vietnam.
Can you tell me about adapting to military life? Physically, hygiene, barracks, food, social life.
I didn't adapt very well. Me and the military just didn't get along that good. I just done what I had to, when I had to. The biggest problem I had was idle time, because I was not in a combat zone, and idle time just drove me nuts. So I had to make things to do to stay active so that I didn't go crazy. But it was, yes, I had trouble adapting because I'm not people good with groups and stuff, and I just a loner.
And the food?
The food?
Yeah.
No problem, I get it. It was good.
Okay. How did you choose the branch of service you served in?
It chose me.
What kind of training did you have?
I had started out with, they sent me to be an MP, but on the first day of MP school, they kicked me out because they found out I was colorblind. And then they sent me to, after a stay in what they called a zoo, which was just everybody, a lot of misfits and undesirables that were going to be discharged. But that's where I stayed, and they sent me then to teletype school, to be a teletype operator, but I had never typed in my life. And then so since I hadn't been there, they sent me to a typing school. And I almost made the requirements to become a teletype operator, but even after 1 week extension in the school, I couldn't get 45 words a minute and no error. I could only get 42, and that's where I was a week before, so they kicked me out of teletype school. Then they sent me to radio repair school, and I'd made it through radio repair school, even though I shouldn't have been there because I was colorblind, because an officer helped me do the last test. Since I was, the fellow I worked with and I were both the top of the class, and he said he figured that I could find somebody that could tell the color codes anywhere in the world where I would be, so I ended up being a field radio repairman.
What friendships formed?
Oh yeah, made a lot of friends. A few of them I still have a little communication with, but most of them kind of lost contact with them over the years.
This is the question. Have you ever met up with any of your old friends from the war that you can't remember of, maybe, that a long time ago?
Do I meet any of my Army friends? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Only one, once in a great while, lives in Kansas, that I see once in a while.
What's his name?
Dave Nordis.
Where did you serve?
I served, my final duty station was in Baumholder, Germany. I served with the company 293rd Engineer Battalion. I was Company D Commo Chief. And of course it was a NATO base. We served with the NATO forces in Europe.
Actions or duties away from the front line.
Pardon?
Actions or duties away from the front line.
Oh, actions away from the front line. Yeah, I was never in a military or a combat zone. My duties was just maintaining all types of communications for the company I was with, the engineering battalion.
How did you stay in touch with those back home?
Letters, mostly.
Was that hard for you to do that? Or
Not at the time, no. I just couldn't wait to write to your grandma. I just spent a lot of hours writing to grandma, and she spent a lot of hours writing to me.
what did you do for recreation off-duty activities?
Oh, go to the movies, go to the down to the PX. The PX, I had a canteen. Go to the canteen, and then after your grandma got there, of course, we spent time exploring around over Europe. We had an old 1952 Volkswagen Beetle that we just traveled around over Europe. It's the only way I ever got to see. We got to see Switzerland and Austria and Germany and Bavaria and Holland. We started to see France, but turned around, went back. Didn't like the wild driving and the crude people.
Were you still overseas when the war ended? Where were you?
Well, I was already, when the Vietnam War ended, I was already back home.
How did you return home?
How?
Yeah.
Returned home, crossed the ocean on a C-130 cargo plane.
Reception by the family or community?
Oh, everybody was glad to see everybody. It was happy homecoming.
How hard was it to return to civilized civilian life?
I had no problem at all.
Are you a member of any veterans organizations?
Nope.
How has being in the military affected your life?
How has the military affected my life?
Yeah.
Oh, let me see a lot of the world and a lot of life that I would not have seen any other way. Learning how to get along with people, how to work with people, how to stand up for yourself. Just a lot of good lessons. And it was good for your grandma and I to be 8,000 miles from home on our first year of marriage, and we really had to depend on one another completely.
Lessons learned.
Pardon?
Lessons learned.
Lessons you learned from being in the military.
Still.
Lessons you learned from being in the military?
Oh, lessons from being in the military. Man. Oh. Don't volunteer for anything. No, not really. One time I was told to volunteer for something and it was a good deal. So, lessons learned. I would say probably one of the hardest lessons for me to learn was to follow strict military guidelines, because I had my own way of doing everything and it didn't agree with the military, so consequently I ended up with a lot of extra duty.
I forgot to ask you this, but when doing going on fun activities, was it any fun at all?
Was it fun?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sometimes we had a lot of fun. Yeah, a lot of the friends you would develop, and even though it may be very miserable, like we had to go out on what they call bridge training, where we actually built a bridge across the river there in Germany, and we had 24 hours to build the bridge, put it across the river, drive across it, tear it down, and move out. And it was in the middle of December, and it was miserable cold. But we tried to just make the best of it. And it a good memory. I mean, it was, but kind of cold, miserable. And then we would have what they called, I can't even think of the exact name, but where we had alerts. We had alerts, and I was trying to think of there's a dictator in the Mideast that caused a bunch of trouble while I was over there, and we went on alert and had to go out, pack up, go out in the field and stay out in the field for about a week or so until that was settled down. And it was rainy and wet and nasty, but you get to know the people you're working with and some of the funny things that happen, and just, yeah, there was a lot of things that happened that were enjoyable, but I didn't want to make my way of life out of it.
Is there any stories or something you want to share?
Well, I think I've told about all of them. I think.
Okay. Thank you for doing the interview with me, Papa.
Oh, you're welcome, Austin.